Women and children, especially those from low-income urban households, have been the most negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and need support urgently, a study by United Nations body found. The Families on the Edge report revealed that and said female-led households were especially vulnerable and more likely to suffer from unemployment, have their working hours cut, and experience difficulties accessing healthcare and home-based learning. The report was by Unicef, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, and UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund. UNICEF said while the government's approach to curb the socio-economic impact of the pandemic on the populations is commendable, it needs to be continued in order to be effective.
I think what we're saying here is those measures were great, and those measures have, as this report has showed, mitigated the worst of the effects on some of these lowest income households during the MCO. But the question is, what next? And what we know is that COVID is a long-term crisis. Unemployment will be elevated for some time. Underemployment will be elevated for some time. And what we will see, unless there is a longer-term mitigation effort put in place for these most vulnerable households, we will see outcome measures going in the wrong direction. So Malaysia already has a stunting challenge, malnutrition issue. And the National Health and Mobility Survey 2019 recently showed a rise in malnutrition. And we shouldn't be surprised that will continue to rise unless the COVID-19 crisis is further mitigated in a more sustained way, particularly for these most vulnerable households.
According to the report, 55% of the 500 heads of households interviewed found that Bantuan Perihatin Nasional or BPN to be the most useful assistance they've received during the MCO. However, when questioned further, some revealed that they could not access the assistance due to issues such as illiteracy, logistics, difficult application procedures, and disqualification for various grounds. 1 in 6 households reported that their savings could only last them for a month, according to the study which was commissioned by the 2 United Nations agencies in partnership with Malaysia-based public policy and research company DM Analytics. Over half of the heads of households were not protected by EPF or SOCSO, and 8% of the households have members with disabilities or chronic illnesses. The report also studied how relevant, adequate, and accessible COVID-19 mitigation policies and other critical social services for this particular group have been. DM Analytics Managing Director Dr. Muhammad Abdul Khalid said, although many assume that low-income households are irresponsible and just want cash handouts, this perception couldn't be further from the truth.
We know the family are very resilient. They want sustainable assistance. They want to earn their own income. Policies must support these aspirations. It is important that we redesign our social policy to give pride to this.
Commissioned in May 2020, the Families on the Edge report described the immediate socio-economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on 500 families with children living in KL's low-cost flats.